These companies would certainly argue, look, we are a publicly traded company. We have a duty here to shareholders. So we're talking about just cold, hard numbers here. Where does empathy play a role in all this?
It plays a significant role when we look at the fact that the last few years have been really difficult and that people are feeling exhausted, high levels of burnout, the highest level of mental health disability claims. And then, particularly in this sector, we're seeing extreme high levels of exhaustion and depletion. And when you looked at the turnover in the workforce last year, 41% of the global workforce turning over, reshuffling, leaving, the number one reason was lack of empathy and care from my employer. So it's a big reason why people leave, and it also plays a role in why people stay.
And we are seeing a little bit of ground perhaps being made, according to a report by Bloomberg, saying that the UAW is targeting at least a 30% pay raise versus the 40% that they were pushing for. So there does seem to be perhaps a little bit of leeway if the UAW ends up confirming this report. But what do you think corporate America then is missing in this discussion about really making up for a lot of the concessions that really started back when the big three were bailed out during the financial crisis?
Well, I think the most frustrating part for, a lot of the folks that are striking right now and why they're striking is that they were made promises to kind of, play a role in helping these large organizations, huge, big companies be able to weather the financial crisis. And so what's happened is that they haven't been they don't feel like the promises have been delivered. And that reduces trust. That makes people say, what's the point? Why am I doing this? And, when you bring in things like the 4-day work week, for example, it seems like, it was a really extreme request, but it's more to manage the fact that people are not feeling like there's loyalty or a reason for being there. And they want to have different kinds of compensations other than just pay. Pay is a priority, but they also want other types of concessions when it comes to their mental health and well-being.
Jennifer, you could argue the environment right now within the labor market has helped gain leverage to employees. Obviously, a tighter labor market means they have a little more negotiating power. To what extent, though, do some of these demands, to what extent is a union necessary for that? I mean, we're talking specifically about the UAW strike, but this concern about higher wages, better benefits, more safer employees, that's not exclusive to the UAW.
No, it's not. But we are seeing record numbers of work stoppages. I mean, it's just astronomically, increased since even pre-pandemic. But in the last year, we're seeing this increase in unionization. And a reason for that, and why we see that increase, is if you look historically over time, is that employers are not listening to their employees and feel like they can take advantage of that. And we know there's a tighter labor market and some employees are getting what they need. But when you have, a sector that, again, for a long time hasn't seen those pay raises, has not seen those promises delivered, they are going to require or need to lean on a body like a union to be able to preserve those rights. And that's why you're seeing, again, the writers' strike and lots of different kinds of unionization activity happening. And instead, we could prevent a lot of this if we were just listening and being empathetic and finding out what our employees needed before it had to hit these kind of catastrophic responses.